Good morning, everybody. First of all, don't start counting the time, please, yet. Okay. It's a pleasure to be here, okay? Here I see all my friends and colleagues of profession in a relaxed way. I'm not running between audio PQC venues, wherever, so I can talk with all, I hope be able to talk with all of you, relaxed, and share my experience, Paris experience. That you can start counting now, okay? I'm invited to warm-up act or opening ceremony, so you can see the level of importance as you wish, okay? So, I don't gonna talk much about immersive audio because we already talked this 2 years ago, remember? We explain how we do it. I just want to confirm to you that what we have done in Paris confirm what we start planning in what we had in 22 with the issue of COVID and the empty venues, okay? So my big concern, or our big concern, was what we saw on the numbers that we had in Tokyo, what's gonna happen in Paris with the full crowd venues, okay? That was our concern, and if that could make it us go back or maintain. I think maintain, I think the feedbacks we had are positive, very, very positive. So, but just you to know that, okay, doing immersive is the easy part, okay? So, just you to know what is difficult is to manage all these numbers. We had 100,000 hours of content, 100,000 hours of content. We have 3,000 hours, 1,500 hours of live content in immersive. So OBS, do it HD and OHD, immersive for all venues, all sports. Even the most difficult ones that we see how you're gonna do it, we have done it immersive, okay? You can see, you see that we had 72 feeds contribution, not one each day, all of them at the same time, okay? Some right holders take only part of it, other right holders take the other part, but we have to produce 72. That's difficult. Okay, people need to read the numbers, okay? And for the audio, we had 128 mixer guys, not guarantees audio, mixing, people mixing, immersive, during 2 weeks. As you can imagine, we cannot train them, all of them. So, a very important role here of the audio PQC, because we made the specs, we tell them what we want in a document, in a conference, audio seminar that was 2 hours explaining what we want, and then the role of the audio PQC is fundamental, that all of them provide a proper product, immersive, first of all, and second, be consistent across all the sports, okay? Again, all these guys have done 5.1.4 plus stereo, whatever sport during 2 weeks. And that is difficult because we have different cultures, different experiences. Sports are difficult, some of them are difficult, very difficult to mix, okay? So these are numbers are impressive. You had 90 audio consoles to make it run at the same time. We have amazing and the biggest open ceremonies. I have here Robert with me that shared this experience. We shared this experience. I can tell you that the audio setup, a technical part, was not the most difficult. We have a huge 7 kilometers to cover, plus many other aspects, was so adding to this. We had 3,600 microphones from Audio Technica that we need to guarantee that arrive on time on the venues. They are placed properly with the production teams, and we had a problem, we need to replace. And also, we need, one thing is the paper. When you arrive to the venues, we see this microphone that we planned doesn't work. Can we send this one? Can we send a shotgun? Can we replace this microphone? Can we need 2 more wireless microphones? All these happen in 4 days, okay? We are not there IBC starts early, but all the production teams, in average, they have 4 days to set up. So we have 7 feeds setting up at the same time. So the peak of work for these guys are unballistic. You cannot imagine what these guys work. Audio Technica, my SWAT team, the technical team, cable team, everybody, is you need to live it to understand, okay? And audio crew, can you see? 509 people. I'm talking just hosts, not right holders, because on right holders, they have their own number. We have to manage, and my team is big, all in permanent staff on OBS, I'm the audio guy. And all the team arrives games time. So we have to manage 500 people, and they all of know, what I used to say, if they have a question and call me, all of them, I don't have enough time on day to receive a calls. So when I deploy the venues, they need to know what they're going to do, okay? This is ballistic numbers, and I can tell you for Los Angeles, it's going to be higher. Okay, this is from my information department. As you see, how much is growing our coverage from London to now. Okay, and the right side, what I understand is the hours that with all broadcasters broadcast. Okay, so that's what we produce, and that's what the broadcasters do. Okay, again, these games, HD or UHD, all of them had 5.1.4 available. So, all these numbers help me to have this perception, okay? This is a perception. I'm not going to talk about how to do it immersive or IP because you are the experts. I have this perception. I did this, analyze this because for next games I need to understand the maturity of the technologies, okay? Starting from immersive is, from us, is mature, is done. Okay, of course, always time, space to improve. Our first experience was 2014. Remember, Felix? And from there, we start doing a lot of experience. At that time, we don't have consoles, we don't have micros, we don't have meters, we don't have infrastructure, backbone, nothing. We have and the guidance we had are not proper for our setups. Okay, so we took 10 years to arrive here. As you can see on the blue line, we have engineering first, and now we don't have A1s with experience. Now we have 128 guys, have 2 weeks mixing immersive. So now we cross the engineering part, and soon we're going to have audio engineers, guys, fundamental audio engineers, sound. I put it sound and audio, asking to engineering now to tune what they've created, because now we have the understanding what we need and how we work. Okay, that's what this map says. Until now, we have been driven by technology. Now we have the experience. Ask to the engineering what we want. Okay, and I say, hey, I'm including me on the audio creative part production. Because I'm going into engineering, and now I can understand what they want. Okay. Now we go to the audio IP, and again, we had 90 consoles, a big system. As you know, all IBC of OBS is already IP. And as you know as well, from 90 consoles, probably 95% or 80% are IP. So I can have the perception, talking with many A1s and guarantees, that we are in this stage. Technology and engineering is still driving. Where I see on the production side a lot of improvement in be efficient. When I see efficient, is technically efficient, operationally efficient, and financially efficient. I think we still are on this pattern, on this level. That soon, I hope, in 4 years we are more balanced. Okay. Now all the engineers, mixing production guys are starting having a good clue what is IP. Engineers start listen and the requirements of who's mixing and what they need in operations for one moment to another. Okay, we had a lot of this experience in games. And then the new technologies. Okay, what I call new technologies, basically according the agenda today, all that we're going to talk today about artificial intelligence, auto mixing, auto quality control, on the cloud. I think we are far away yet. Okay, we are growing on the engineering side of audio, very fast. On the production, and the engineers on mixing, they are aware, with a main difference from these technologies to the immersive audio that we started 10 years ago. Now, everything is available, much available to on the web, on the apps, etc. So, A1s, audio people, are much more aware of these technologies that we are on the past about IP, switchers or immersive audio. When we start with immersive audio, we had Dolby starting doing some Dolby Atmos, but our reference were nothing. And our network was me, you, and a couple of people, trying to discuss and trying to get some. Now it's a lot of information, a lot of, and it's positive, this is positive, and that's going to make us go very, very fast. I think you already have a lot of apps in artificial intelligence. And also on the schools, I think Felix can talk about this later or confirm, they are aware of it because they have easy access. Okay, that in the prior technologies was not so easy. You have the Dante, that's why I have read first, and then we go for engineering, and it appeared 2110. That was complex, still complex today for most of the engineers. So that's the maturity that I want to show, because I think it is important for all of us to understand this, and that's what my perception after many hours of production, many people talking, and that I need to read this, analyze this for the next games to see how much I can and critical I am to go to the next step. Okay? And that's it. And 1 year out, I will be in Milano, implement another games, in immersive audio that is already standard, and preparing already that is going to be huge, as you may know already. I think they already announced all the venues. So if I don't have this analysis very solid, I'm going to have problems in a few years. Okay? How much time? So, questions? No questions? One.
I have a question. Like different environments, like Brazil, probably had different challenges. What was the most, what was the challenge that you didn't expect? How, for example, for us, more about the labour laws were quite complicated, so we had to get more people and things like that. So was there something that was unexpected that you had to manage?
I'm not going to talk about ceremonies because ceremonies is a different animal. It's not easy to manage all these people. Okay, it's not easy at all. It's not easy to manage all these equipment. And I was talking now with is I'm not depending on the audio. I'm depending of video production. I'm depending of the federations. I'm depending on the venues. Even if I see that the microphone place for that, the best position is here, I'm depending from federation. I'm depending from the committee. And they're talking about 50 different federations, 72 different venues, and that's the key, And again, we can have all the plan, everything nice on paper, but we have 4 days to set up everything, So if I don't have a good preparation, but that's why I go early to the venues to make sure that we don't have big surprises. If I receive one call for each venue, I'm done, And that's the major difficulties. And then Audio PQC do a great job because they try 2 different venues to make sure that we are consistent, the mixes are good. And we talk with completely different teams and different backgrounds.
I've got another question as well. I've
Cool.
known you a long time. Your role has kind of evolved over time. And for you personally, what do you think of your last couple of Olympics? Your role has really sort of developed. What experiences are quite the most important that you've got from this? The last 12 years.
I think was the implementation of immersive. I think it was a challenge for all of us implementing the immersive because we talk about immersive and Atmos for a long, long time. And I saw video and other technologies go faster than us, moving faster than us. And I said, if we lose this opportunity, we're never going to recover it. Okay? So I think all of us that been involved on this project on the immersive audio, I think it's what we achieved after Paris. And Paris for me was the confirmation, because half crowd was a normal games. Unfortunately, Tokyo weren't. We have in Beijing. But now we are consistent. You can like it or not, this mix or less this mix. Now we are on the level of we have stereo before. Okay, you can like it, you can not like it. You use more this microphone, that microphone, this workflow, but we know how to do it. We OBS, all of us, know how to do it from 1.2 to deliver at home. Well, almost at home. So I think this is the bigger achievement of it since Rio. That was a nice journey. Was a nice journey. Tough, as you can see from Rio to now.
I have a question. Just sorry, go to the person.
You first.
Yeah. So just from an IP point of view, obviously it's matured, we know where we are with it. What do you feel has still got to evolve in that world to help you move forward even more? Certainly in immersive as well.
Well, I think we need to find easier workflows. We need to find more sustainable and economical workflows. Okay, when we're talking about this dimension, costs are important. Time is important, and time is a cost. Okay, and we have too many changes on the systems because of the nature of the event. We need to be more efficient. We need to work faster, and we need to be more guaranteed that the system is good, independently of the dimension. Okay, we didn't have any critical problem. We had problems, but we have problems in all areas. But allow us to understand where we need to go, and the limitations that now we have that we cannot have in the future, for sure. Okay.
Okay. So sorry, just to expand on that then.
Next person in the panel.
Yeah. So in the pen, we're going to talk about that. That's what the professors tell me. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. How did you interact with the athletes? I mean, are you able to put microphones in them, or is that a barrier?
That's an interesting question. That's another thing that we need to manage. Each federation is a world. So, of course, what we like it, and the right holders, one of the right holders like to have microphones in all athletes, on all referees. It's not so easy. Before the microphone in the athletes, all the other microphones, we need to approve from an international federation to make sure, and that's for me and OBS, is no discussion on this. Microphones cannot have any impact on the athlete performance, any. If the federation tell me that I need to have a microphone 50 meters away from the athlete, I said, but I don't have audio from it, it's my problem. Okay? Athlete never can come to me and say I lost a gold medal because the microphone or the microphone operator distracted me. Okay? So there is no question. So with athletes, microphones is the same. Okay? We need to make sure that federation wants. It's a long process. That's what we do in 4 years, is to make this process. Even so, we had another complication that is, okay, for example, if NBC asks for athletes, North American athletes, yeah, but we have to do it for the North American, then the Portuguese, then the German, then the Australians, okay? And that's when we're talking about how many right holders we had, 85, and that's massive. So it's a long process, complex, but Sergi, more important is cannot have impact on the athletes. What athletes say, I don't use it. We had a situation. Can I talk about the situation we had with American basketball? No? So we have the breakouts we cover with our coaches, right? When the coach or not in a game match, Brazil, United States, the coach said, we don't want a microphone. We don't want nobody listen to us. Bam, out. We have the pictures, but we don't have the audio. Respect. No discussion that, but we have because NBC won't. No, I'm sorry, nothing, zero. Okay. So finish. I now deliver to the right holders, and now they do whatever they want to do.
Thanks, Nuno. I have to say it's a pleasure to be able to share the stage with Nuno. It's rare, I think, as a host broadcaster, and NBC are the #1 rights holder of the Olympics. So myself and Nuno, we talk a lot, years ahead, and ultimately it's Nuno and his crew and OBS as the host broadcaster who will define the sound design of the Olympic Games. But we do talk both personally and professionally and say, well, what about this and what about that? And like sometimes, like being the US broadcasters will, the difference between the host broadcaster and a rights holder like NBC is that the host broadcaster has to be unbiased, and it's really important that they don't focus on anybody in particular. We focus on the Americans. Basically, a US audience wants to see US athletes and US families, friends and families in the audience and things like that. So just a great pleasure to be able to share the stage with Nuno. So were the Paris Olympics the greatest ever? Well, they were. I think we were gifted an incredible event. Paris is an incredible city, and coming off Beijing and Tokyo and Beijing, where we always talk about the details of the sport, and they gave us the opportunity, but no crowd in this. We sort of lost the passion of the crowd, but we really gained on picking up the details of the sport. And Nuno loves to talk about the details, and as do NBC, is like, the hands on the balance beam and the creaks of the bars, and every footstep and every breath. I mean, that stuff is it's golden to have. And then of course we go to Paris, and we have the crowd, which is definitely a welcome back to the crowd. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about little ticker down here in the bottom right hand corner says that there's some audio coming next, just to help everybody at the back of the room. So just a little bit of a sort of a look back at NBC's Olympics. That's why we do Olympics. It's just an incredible event, and it's probably the last time I'll actually see that reel. But it's just great to see it this time. So in regards to ratings, it's a best ever event that NBC Olympics could really ask for, televised and streamed across all 329 events over 17 consecutive days, generated like a record haul of 1.25 billion in ad sales. Money talks. That's what I mean. It's as much as the sport is important. If you're getting a lot of money out of ad sales, that's important. It all goes back into engineering. It goes back into production. So those things are important. 4.1 million viewers access Peacock, which is our streaming service on NBC, and a quarter of the stream users access the multi-view, which is a quad box view. So you could basically, on your TV, choose whichever sport you wanted to listen to. You can flick through it, and you'll have a stereo output. If you want to actually watch anything in particular, you click on it, it comes up in 514. And then also a Goal Zone, which was 10 hours of guided content. So that was a channel where it could be the only channel you put on, on the day, and you would be guided through content going to generally, U.S. medal winners and U.S. Sports where Americans were doing very well. So you'd be going from one venue to another. That was a great control room to walk into, because that was just, everybody was basically directors and producers. Everybody was directing and producing standing up. And then of course we had social media aspects of things. Social media was huge, as it always is, and we have TikTok, and a lot of vertical format stuff was very important.
It's interesting to go by a control room at NBC where the picture is vertical.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's definitely a new side of it. Snoop Dogg was everywhere, of course. That was basically a 500% increase in social media viewership over the Tokyo Olympics, and 4.7 million new viewers on social media on all those different accounts and channels. And the feedback that we got was that we needed to connect with users on an emotional level, not just like on a sport level. So that's why social media was very important. And a lot of the athletes actually. So we sent out influencers, 27, 30 influencers, and we set them up with all their kit, sent them out, and of course it ended up that they weren't actually the influencers, but the athletes themselves with their own phones and their own accounts on TikTok. They actually ended up being so we always learn something from every games, but it was interesting for that. And of course the most popular of all the social media people was so funny enough, like I had nothing to do with any of that audio. I mean, like, even the little microphone with the NBC mic flag, when I saw that, I was like, where did that thing come from? And like no involvement. So it's funny how the social media aspect kind of in some ways takes over. So just as far as studios, we had two big studios out in Paris. Obviously, everything has a view of the Eiffel Tower. It was hard to get a shot without the Eiffel Tower. Obviously the production was back in Stamford, Connecticut. RP1s, we used to have an RP1 with a Brio console as a backup, but then we decided we would just send out 2 RP1s for each studio, obviously controlled back in Stamford, and then with Dante cards, all our comms are all Dante Odin, and then Matty cards to either embed on the camera feeds going back, but also to send Matty streams back. And every A1 or sound supervisor likes to get a Matty stream as opposed to having to de-embed audio. And then on our TV tower, the daytime show also similar setup and all RF mics. What that looks like, the top left-hand side there, it's basically, you can see on the very far right-hand side, two RP1s, modular Calrec box, and really that's it. We had some engineers there just to make sure things were kind of plugged in. And then bottom left-hand corner is the control room that it's going back to in Stamford, Connecticut. So these are all our A venues, so athletics, gymnastics, swimming. We did full 5-1 mixes at the venues, so we would send all our own production, NBC production went out there. In the right-hand side here, you'll see the sort of our A venue mapping. So we'll get the A1s to do a 5-1 mix at all these venues. And then we have some up in channels 7 and 8. We have some, dummy headset mics and some independent sort of ISO tracks. And then we have basically, 8 channels of height mics to choose from. So you're doing a 5-1 mix in the truck. All this stuff is going back to Stamford, Connecticut. Either it's going live into an Atmos show, or it's going onto tape, then being turned around by editors, 16-channel editing basically, and sending it back to a control room. But we mix down those, 9 through 16 into a .4 or the height channels. And 4 channels, that's right. So 4 channels come from OBS. That's Nuno's height mics. Basically, we'll take a split of those height mics, and the A1 sound supervisor will just pass those through the truck back to Stamford. And then we have our own individual height mics that we'll put out, a couple of stereo mics on some camera platforms and things like that. So sometimes we like to have a little bit of close crowd in the overheads, not just the general ambience. So we have I managed to blag 8 channels of audio for overheads. I think that's pretty good. And then our B levels, all fly packs, all going back, RP1s, a lot of announcers on site. Obviously, you've got them there: basketball, beach volleyball, indoor volleyball. Funny enough, NBC have a tendency to build their own little ghetto houses. Especially on outdoor venues, we have carpenters that'll go and kind of build covers over them because they don't like the sun on their heads. These are some of the we built like 10 new commentary booth kits. So the left-hand side there is up in the booth. It's 9U, so it's quite a kit, but there's a lot of redundancy in there. Everything is Dante, so we have Studio Technologies, bottom left-hand corner, commentary boxes. Each commentator has their own commentary box. Main and redundant. It also has main and redundant Dante. It also has an XLR out of the back of each individual commentary box. That actually goes into it. We have it into a small little mixer. So the A2 or the sound assistant can do what we call a scratch mix. So if we ever lost a Dante, if we ever lost the paths back to Stamford, Connecticut, the A2 would do assistant would do a small little scratch mix of the 3 microphones, and it would actually go down a Comrex, which is above the UPS, bottom left-hand corner, and that actually takes the raw internet. So it's outside of NBC's circuits, outside of OBS's circuit, just takes the venue circuit, raw internet all the way home, and we have that on a fader. We've used it a couple of times, not that anybody noticed. This is the preparation. So this is Monroe, Connecticut. This is, 6-7 months before we ship everything. This is just audio here within all the blue bins. Preparation is everything. The fact of being able to build these things, test them, connect them to the actual network equipment that we're sending out there with the actual IP addresses, and then just to break it all down. And of course, we're all on 230 volt power here, so it's like it's absolutely everything. And it's more than those two guys that are involved, though. And then just a little bit about our off-tube booths. We have 32 off-tube booths. So we'll take from OBS, obviously we're going to take the 514 host feed, as well as for our A venues, we'll take the 5.1, we'll mix our own ambience, we'll add our own NBC mics. We have I think I counted like 600 splits I took from Nuno, so we can do our own mix. In this particular instance, where we're going, all venues or all sports are going out live on our streaming platform Peacock. We'll take the host 5.1 feed and we'll add our own announcers. And this is basically the off-tube factory, as we call it back in Stanford. And it's basically using a caloric assist. So the first fader is basically a 5.1. It's Nuno's 5.14 completely finished mix. And then the two faders that are up here at the right-hand side are basically our play-by-play and our color, our com and co-com. And there's a few other faders in there that you don't need to know much about, but we're basically creating a finished feed that can either go into a control room or go directly live out on air. So lots of different ways of getting content on air, and this is what some of the sound of the games. Top left-hand side here, we have our Gold Zone studio. So this is where we had everybody signing up, directing basically, but you're basically guided through the day to all the top sports that are going on during the day. That was a 5.1 show. No, that was a 5.1. That was an Atmos show. Top right is our daytime show. You can see there's a certain familiarity with the control rooms. Pretty much look the same with the certain types of console, unnamed but familiar to most people. And then we use an Enco audio playback device. You use spot on trigger over here, but we have a tendency to use Enco. Bottom left-hand corner, USA. That was it's our cable channel, 24 hours. That was full Atmos as well. And that's basically just spending a much longer time going through the whole sport, all of the swimming heats, and then going on to another sport. And then bottom right-hand corner, very important for when you're dealing with global sports events like this, is to have a listening room. It's like somewhere dedicated just to audio, whereby I'm in touch with my A1s in Paris or wherever they are, kind of making sure that we have a consistency across all our venues and just checking for problems before people hear them at home. So that's kind of one of the really, really important thing to have. And then just finally, some of the kind of new enhancements that we did. I'm always reminded that content is king sometimes, and we just have to kind of step back and say content is king. So that is it from NBC side of things. Thank you.